Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Living Large Las Vegas. My name is Kobe Sherlock, and today, back in the lab, Mr. Derek Parent. Derek, say hello to everybody.
Hello, hello.
Guys, we're bringing somebody pretty amazing to you today. I can't wait to introduce this gentleman. He's been someone that has, been a part of just an incredible path and has touched many lives through his work, through his commitment to himself and his absolute performance in his industry, and somebody who, I'm personally a fan of. I don't mind admitting it myself, but we're excited to have him here in Las Vegas and excited to see the impact that he's going to make for our folks. So without further ado, Mr. Flex Wheeler. Flex, how are you?
I want to meet him. He sounds like, I want to meet this cat. Where is he?
Man, he's here. He is here in the flesh, in the seat. We have had some incredible leaders sitting right there. But I tell you, and Derek kind of shared, man, I'm most excited to really hear from you and your background, and it's truly an honor. So thank you so much for joining us.
No, the honor's all mine. Thank Derek, for even inviting me to be a part of your show. And, no, it's beautiful. The honor's all mine. So many times, you meet someone, first you have to instill power in them, right? That's how it happens, because I can walk down the street and some people look at me, don't know who I am, and I mean anything. So you have to instill power in that person, right? So the thing I've always thought about, it's more of an honor to be respected. So to be able to go somewhere and somebody respect you for your craft or what you've done, that's a true honor. To go to other countries and to sit here in this room and meet gentlemen that I never met before, and you guys have some type of respect for me. That's true respect. So the honor is truly all mine, and I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, Flex, before we dive in, for the listeners out there, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from, man? Just that general good information that we need to know.
You gotta, before you get into that, right? Listen, back in the 90s, I had magazines with Flex on them. Like, I wanted to be huge. Back in when I was, World's Gym days, right? I was 200 pounds, like 8% body fat, and that's who I was trying to get my body like to.
Looks like you made the right decision, though.
Yeah, this guy is.
This guy is a better decision.
The legend. This guy is a legend, Flex Wheeler. So with that, you got to introduce him as the legend.
I love it.
You know what? I'm just a normal guy. My real name is Kenneth Wheeler. I'm from Fresno, California. I love martial arts, been in martial arts all my life. Got into bodybuilding just because my dad was a football coach when I was living in Oakland, going to Oakland Tech High School. And unfortunately, I was too small. When I graduated out of high school, I only weighed 98 pounds. So, at that time, being in the 9th grade, they wouldn't allow me to play football because the insurance wouldn't insure me. They said I was too big of a liability because I was too small. So, unfortunately, being that my dad was one of the coaches, they sent him to be the bearer of Mat News. So, I would just go in the weight room and, wait for him to be done, coaching and everything like that. And, kind of enjoyed myself in there and, good response. And, the next is old news, so.
Man, I tell you, we have seen, incredible feats, from you and things that you've been able to achieve. The first one that I personally can remember celebrating, and I told you my dad was a big fan.
Yeah.
In looking back, I was too young, but I've definitely seen the videos. 1993 Arnold Classic.
Yeah, my pro debut at the Arnold Classic. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and what that feeling was like in that experience?
Yeah, the interesting thing about that is the Arnold Classic was my second pro show that I ever had done. And obviously, I'd heard of Arnold and everything like that, and I heard of the show, but I was just happy to be there. You know what I mean? At the time, Lila Brada, who was ranked number 2 in the world, and Vince Taylor was ranked number 3 in the world. So, I figured these guys are going to mop the floor with everybody. So I was just so happy to actually be on stage, standing next to Lila Brada and Vince Taylor, who were idols. I had just looked up to them, and, I ended up winning with a perfect score. And I thought they made a mistake. I was looking around like, wait a minute, you know who these guys are, and, but it was just beautiful. But I was such a kid, I wasn't aware of what that meant. I wasn't aware of what it meant to, to win by a perfect score or to beat the, recognized number 2 and number 3 person in the world. I was just so green And I think that was a good thing because I wasn't scared. I wasn't terrified or anything like that. But it just, you know, kind of skyrocketed my career. And then obviously having Arnold come out on stage and call me one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time in my second pro show, you know, that just meant everything to me. You know, I always say I never won the Olympia, but to have the credibility and such scholars like that recognize and respect me and call me that, you know, that's greater because all my trophies are gone. You know, the prize money's been burned through, but it's the respect of your peers, which means most to me, and that never dies down. So that's just, I don't think anybody would not want that. You know, at the end of the day, we just want to be respectful for who we are, whether we're black, white, gray, green, antennas coming out of our head or whatever. We just want to be respected for who we are as a person. So, you know, being able to compete in those shows and have the respect of my peers and even be on this show here is just a true honor to me.
Oh man. So so question for you is how did you get the name Flex? How did that all? Because, you know, I'm Kenny, but how'd you get how'd you get the name Flex?
Actually, it was a derogatory kind of statement at the beginning because like I said, I was so skinny, but I was, you know, highly into martial arts. I was, you know, a really good fighter. And I used to walk around just kicking everything. I just, you know, like Bruce Leroy or whatever. I just, you know, kicking everything. And I guess because I was so small, I didn't know it, but, you know, the word was I was so small, I'd walk around, you know, bigger, like, you know, I guess a small man's complex. And, you know, so people would see me like, you know, why are you always flexing? You know, then they just cut it to short. Here comes Flex again, you know, and it kind of stuck with me. And the first time I competed in a local show in Fresno, I remember the promoter name was Steve Bonstead. And he goes, what do you want me to announce you when you come out? And I'm like, I don't know, just call me Ken. He goes, no, I'm going to call your nickname Flex. So, you know, I'm just skinny little pencil. And, you know, he goes, next is Flex Wheeler. And the crowd goes crazy, you know. And I walk out and I'm this little pencil figure and they keep going crazy. So it kind of stuck, you know, Yeah.
It is.
Man, you know, you have competed at high levels in, you know, martial arts. You shared that.
Mm-hmm.
What was it, karate, right? Was that
karate, taekwondo, Shotokan, Shorin-ryu, and Hapkido karate and Kempo. Yeah.
You've been on major stages. You've met incredible people along the way. What has translated from your early successes in some of those performances to really your walk, you know, through all of the other highlights and low, you know, times as well? Mm-hmm. What's translated for you in specifically, I think I'm asking mentally in strength, right. What's translated for you?
You know, I think when most immature, I was very immature, very low self-esteem and stuff like that. You think it's you know, you think you've done all the work and, you know, at the time, you know, I come from nothing. So I found it a way to be able to make money. So my first thought was make money. I don't want to be poor anymore. I don't want to be on welfare anymore. You know, I don't want to have to live with rats and roaches and stuff like that. So that was my first thought. You know, I can generate money, then change my lifestyle. And from there, you know, it's the cocky arrogance of just, you know, a young stud in his prime. You know, it's me. You know, everything is me. So it was all about me. But as I got older and, you know, start transitioning through different phases, I started to understand there's a bigger story. And it's not all about, you know, what you gain, it's what you give back. And, you know, to kind of sum up your answer, the question to the answer is, you know, I don't really want to be known as, you know, Flex Wheeler, the whatever bodybuilder, the legend or anything. Because when you say that, what are you saying? I mean, there's so many great, you know, personalities out there, whether you're a billionaire or whatever, or great looking or model or historical, you know, athlete. That doesn't mean anything. You know, some of them are criminals, rapists, killers, stuff like that. So when you say, you know, a great athlete, that doesn't mean anything. I can go to prison and meet some of the greatest athletes that never was. So I want my legacy to be now just somebody who wanted to give back, somebody who cared about other people. And, you know, that's my bigger vision now of what I want to be remembered by.
Man, and you've chose a great place to do it here in Las Vegas. You know, Derek and I both had the pleasure of being a part of a lot of give backs, really with a great diverse, you know, background, some of these organizations that we participate with. So for you, you know, what's special for you, maybe in your vision of give back, if you can, you know, leave a legacy and build a bridge in one area, where would that be?
Right. So, you know, obviously I just went through an amputation due to a DVT. So that gives me a great platform to be able to help other amputees, stuff like that. Like we were discussing off air is, you know, I want to, you know, try to come up with a way of creating a nonprofit organization that just help amputees, help people, you know, just in need. But not only that, when I say disability, it's so many other different types of disability that I had to deal with, whether it's be, you know, mentally or suicidal or depression or stuff like that. There's so many crippling things that people have to do out there, deal with out there. So I just want to try to be, a nucleus to try to help people like that. So that's one of the greater ways that I want to give back. I'm starting my own nutrition company, and that's another way of giving back because, just everything that I've been through and everything, I think I have kind of a more understanding what's needed, especially to be, trying to be a successful businessman and, a father, a grandfather, or a great grandfather. How do we stay in shape? And, when we were young studs, it was so easy. But now you look, 20 or 30 years later, it's like, wow, that's what I used to look like. How did this happen? How do I get back in shape? And as time goes on, we kind of just become a creature of habit, just being unhappy because we're not the stud that we were before. So just trying to give back that insight in various different ways. And, I'm really happy to have moved here to Vegas because now I'm finding there's so many great opportunities, and I was one of those people who frowned and looked down upon Las Vegas before I moved here. And once I moved here, I found out like, wow, it's nothing like I thought whatsoever. It's great people here. It's great business opportunities here. So I'm really happy. And now to be linked up, with Derek and his gym and everything else, hopefully I'll be able to, be able to have a greater voice and being able to help out just people here locally. But, I have to recognize I have an international name and vision. So I don't want to cut them out. And for me, I'll say this and it's going to throw you guys off, but I believe in my race. I believe in my race. I believe my race is superior to all other races. I think God put us on this race to rule all over others, and I just want to help my race. Now, to end that, no matter what you guys were thinking, I was talking about the human race. Our race was put here to rule all over others. So I don't see black, white, yellow, or anything. I just see another human being. So I just want to kind of close that gap, especially during these troubling times that we're going through now. And that's one of the greater ways I want to be able to give back.
Well, Flex, you are, an inspiration. You world champion. You were an athlete. There's a lot of things that you were and that you can't take away. Your past doesn't define what your future is all about, but your past is why you're here, right? And you are an inspiration. So for me, we became friends quickly, and I appreciate our friendship more than you can imagine, because we're two guys that bonded quickly, and we have a lot of similarities in many ways. But I would say when I saw you, yes, your leg is gone from the knee down.
From the knee down, yes, sir.
So, but to see you on the leg press, to see you pushing through, and I know this just happened in November. You had the operation November 2019,
yeah.
right?
Yes, sir.
So not even a year ago.
No.
But to be an amputee, to doing where you're already at with the mindset that you have is it's strong. Your will is unbelievable. How and I don't want to say that you passed it because I don't know. But how do you get to where you are today from just happening less than a year ago?
Like I was saying, again, off camera, I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot, and I just truly feel that this was all in preparation for this great battle that I have here before me. And one of my greatest strength comes from the man upstairs. Sorry, it comes from him.
Don't be sorry.
Without him, nothing happens. But I just think that he's been preparing me for this kid who, had a hard life, and then all the different things that I had to go through health-wise, and so on. It just prepared me for this greater battle. So my strength comes from him, but I have to, it's like a saying, knowledge isn't enough, one must apply. Applying them is not enough, one must do. So even though I have that from him, it's still incredibly challenging. And it has been, when this all happened to me, earlier last year, I kind of knew that, the surgeries weren't going to work. I already had like an epiphany. It was just a feeling in my heart. And I even had said to my wife, and, I'm not going to be walking long, and she got upset with me. She's a nurse. And she's like, you can't think that, it's, you have to be strong. I go, no, I am strong, but it's a feeling I have. I'm not going to be walking long. This isn't going to work. And so I went back to the emergency room, many of times being in a lot of pain, and it got to the point where they started preparing me and saying, Flex, we've done every surgery we can. There's no other surgery to have except when that time comes to take your leg. So that kind of started preparing me for this battle. And when it got to that point where I just couldn't bear the pain anymore, I went in and they explained to me, we're out of options. So I said, take it, just take it. And I made a promise to myself. I promised myself that, when I wake up and I look down and I see my leg missing, if I'm okay with it visually, then I'll be okay. If I wake up and I look down and I freak out, it's going to be a hard road. And I woke up and I looked down. It's like, okay, all right, but the doctors and everybody, they kept warning me, goes, you haven't realized what really happened, slow down. I'm like, no, I'm okay, blah, blah, blah. So it really didn't hit me. When I got home the first night, I went to sleep I stopped taking my narcotics because I knew I just can't be at home taking these crazy narcotics. So I woke up in the morning and all the feelings hit me, I got up, and I walked to my balcony to go downstairs. And for the first time, I realized my vulnerability. When you walk down steps, you look at the next step. You don't look over to see how far that is of a fall. So being on my crutches, I looked down. I'm like, Jesus, if I fall, it's not going to be good. And, I stood there for a minute and I started sobbing, and my wife was trying to comfort me. And she's like, you're going to do this. You're going to be strong. And, wisely, she just looked at me and she just backed up. She said, you know what? I don't know what you're going through. So I'm just going to be quiet. And I appreciated that because you can't tell me nothing. If you haven't been through this, you can't tell me anything. And even if you have been through it, your battle isn't mine. I still got to go through it. So I went downstairs and I was just looking at pictures in my house. And that's when it hit me, because all my pictures had 2 legs. And all my competitive pictures, my pictures with my kids and everything, I was like, wow. And it just dawned on me. It's like, wow, how beautiful it is to have 2 legs. And I was just looking at the furniture, and I was like, wow, when I bought this furniture, I had 2 legs. Everything in this house, I had 2 legs. And I just lost it. I just sat there and I lost it. And, my wife came over and she was holding me. I said, baby, I got to go through this, because I made a decision already that I knew I wanted to help people. I knew that I can't be, this flex wheeler who goes through all these great things in life and I share it and this, that, and other. I'm all over the world. But as soon as I go through one of the most unthinkable things, that I'm going to go into hiding. I knew I couldn't do that. I had to really be vocal about all this. So I already knew what my vision was of being able to help other people. And I just said, I got to go through the hells and the bowels of what this really feels like. Because, of course, I had suicidal thoughts, all the evil demon thoughts. I'm half a man now. You're not worthy. Why would my wife even want me? Freaking, you're even a half a man, all that horrible stuff. And it beat up on me. And I said, I just looked at it and I said, I'm going to be all right. But I have to go through the true hell of this. If I'm going to sit in front of somebody else who's been through something that I've been through, and they're on the apex of possibly ending their life because of it, I got to go through all the feelings to be able to help pull them out. And if I cheat myself going through this battle, then I'm going to be sitting there with somebody who's really going through it. And they're going to look in my eyes and know that I didn't go through it. They're going to know that I'm not real with them, and I might lose that person. So I struggle with it, and I continuously struggle with it, but it's a struggle, and I just, I try to understand the bigger picture. I'm still here. I could have died from this. I could have died from many of things, but I truly could have died from this. It was that bad. I still have another leg. I still have 2 arms. There's people out there who have no legs. There's people out there who have no arms, and, I have a prosthetic leg now. I can walk and all that. So I'm not the worst person, no matter what. I do understand, and we've done research. There's no one that has taken such an incredible fall from a great place in life. There's no other athlete or anybody who's been through this. But, that puts me in a very, great position to be able to reach back out and help people. So my strength comes from, I can't, sit up here and cry, woe is me. I can't, that's BS. There's people still out there who are way worse than I am. So I can't, I can't make excuses. And my true goal is to truly help people. So I just have to be strong. And there's times where I'll post things on camera, or, I'll be in a gym and I'm just going through incredible pain, but I just, I can't let that stop me. Pain is going to be a part of my life now. I have neuropathy. I'm in pain 24 hours a day. It never goes away. Never goes away. Never goes away. And, sometimes it's crippling. Sometimes I just lay in bed and I just sit there and cry because that's all I can do. And at those times, I just tell myself, just maybe tomorrow will be one of those days when you can get up and you can bear it. So I deal with like a level 7 to 10, they use in pain. I deal with that all day. So when I'm at 10, yeah, I just stay at home and I just go through it. When I'm at a 7, I'm doing flips. Yeah. And that's kind of sad to say at a level 7, but it's a grave difference between in 10 and 7. So if I'm at 9 or 8 or 7 or anything below that, I'm doing flips. I'm in a gym. I'm trying to do things. And that's normally when I'll do my video. But I want to be inspirational people. And, you know, it's just life. We all go through things. Life's going to give you lemon no matter what. Life's going to give you lemons. So I just got to figure out a way to make my lemons in a lemonade and serve it sweet, and that other people can drink from my cup and don't have to go through what I went through.
I love it.
Yeah, you know, you saw the time in November, then you have COVID hits in March. Yeah. You know, so talking about, you know, going to the gym and then all of a sudden to, you know, not doing almost anything. So what was COVID like for you? I mean, especially, you know, after the surgery.
Right. It was really challenging. Like I said, you know, my wife's a nurse and she's dealing with that. And I'm a kidney transplant person, so I have a weak immune system, and I'm an old bastard also. So all those things. But you know, my real belief is you know, what's going to happen is going to happen. Yeah. You know, I'm not going to live stupidly, and I'm not going to run out in front of a truck and say, no, God wants me here, so this truck isn't going to hurt me. I'm not going to do that. But I truly believe, you know, I truly believe that the book is written like your parent. So we have these dreams and ambition that we want our children to become, right? Yeah. So that's like our father upstairs. But he gives us the freedom of choice, hence like our children. We might have their whole life designed out for them, and I don't want to do that. So, you know, I truly believe that the book is written, and I have to play my role in life. And this is my role in life that I have to play in all these various different, and I'm honored. I'm happy that, you know, he still allows me to still be here, and I get strength from that. And, you know, throughout the day, just driving here in Vegas or looking on TV, you see such horrific things that people are so much worse off than you. How can I sit here and cry and say me? And no, I'm not going to cheat you and tell you that I didn't go through that. Yeah, I had some serious conversations with God. I was very angry. Like, why? You know, I don't do nothing. I don't do this. I don't do that. You know, you have so many other people out there who just living life great, and they're just horrible. You know, why me? And I went through that point in time, and I just understand, you know, that, you know, like they says, you know, God gives you some of the strongest battles to his greatest warriors.
That's right.
And, you know, I find strength in that, and I'm honored, and, doesn't make it easier, but, you know, I've always been a big mouth. I've always wanted to do great things. I always shut my mouth off. I want to do great things. But the truth about it, and doing great things, man, it's going to be horribly hard. It's going to be lonely. It's going to be painful. You know, it's a joke. You know, I hear people say, well, I heard this vision. I want to do this. You know, and if, you know, not to get biblical or anything like that, but if you read any story of the Bible, any challenge he gave a person, they all ran from it. Like, no, God, no. So, you know, it's just funny when you hear these voices. Yeah, he told me to do this, and I'm gonna be a billionaire. And I'm like, wow, I don't remember. So, you know, I'm just honored, no matter what, to be in a position I am, even to be an amputee. I think it's so honorable because the truth is, I've never been happy. I've never been happy. You know, all the money I've made, all the cars I've had, all the jewelry, I've never been happy. You know, it's just a big black sinking hole that I would just throw money and everything through, and I was never happy. And that's why I remained suicidal, you know, my entire life. Even if you look at pictures of me, you would think, wow, this guy's perfect. But all I do is I look at those same pictures and I pick them apart. That's wrong. This wrong. Look at that. You know, never been happy. I'm the type of person, if I'm walking in front of somebody, I'm conscious about every step. I think I'm going to trip. Am I standing straight? Am I slumped over? Is somebody looking at me? That's me as a person. So the crazy thing about it is when this happened to me, I just became so comfortable. I don't worry anymore. And I see people looking at me, and I see them looking at me, and their eyes are like, you know, feeling sorry. And I'm just thinking, I'm the happiest man. I might as well be 30 foot tall and 3,000 pounds of 1% body fat, because that's what I feel like now. So it's really made me complete. And if this is what needed to happen to me, for me to actually be complete and content with who I am, man, that's beautiful. You know,
Flex, you happy right now sitting in that chair, man?
I am. I can't stop smiling.
I love it.
I can't stop smiling. And like I said, the person before, you know, it would be very hard pressed to get me to smile, you know, and I just can't stop smiling now. And so it's just beautiful, man. You know, life is great. You know, it's great. great.
I hear, a lot of what drives you, what empowers you, and what inspires you. It's extremely moving. Let me say that sitting here is extremely moving. You have God laying the path for you, in your belief that the book is written. Tell me this, on earth, in your life, have you had mentors that you look to provide strength and guidance through some of the things that you've gone through as well?
I truly feel that God has put incredible people in my life throughout my entire life. There's a great saying by Sir Isaac Newton, and if it goes something like, if I've seen farther than others, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of giants. Well, I've had giants throughout my entire life that I've been able to stand on their shoulders. I remember just getting into bodybuilding, as a kid, a very predominant figure in Fresno, looked at me and said, I want to train with you. I want to train. I'm like, why? So I come from Fresno, very racial diverse, very racial charged area. The KKK had a strong presence there. We had to fight all the time. And this person was white, very successful business owner. Like I said, I don't see color, but I know people do. And I just looked at him, I'm like, why? He goes, you got great genetics, you got, great symmetry. And I'm like, I was so ignorant, like, what does that mean? Is that a racial slur? That's how naive and ignorant I was, truly to the word of ignorant, right? And he looked at me, he just laughed. He goes, no, son. He goes, I just, you got something that I don't have. And I like to see how far you can go with it. And, I just looked at him like, listen, dude, I ain't got no money. I'm not gay. I don't get down like that. So I don't know what you want or what you think you're going to get from me, but it's not going to happen. He goes, fall back, relax, So that got me on this path. Ty McGuire, who's another mentor of mine, got me into martial arts, and I had been fighting all my life. And I, came over to his school. I was in police academy at the time, and I heard about him. He was a tremendous fighter, and I was at the time. And I was very arrogant with myself. And I went over to his school, and, he wanted to introduce me and stuff like that. And he goes, well, why don't you move around with some of my top students and let me see how good you are? So I just ran through his whole class, and, not understanding that I was very disrespectful because I didn't beat him. I mean, I beat him down, stomping, slamming, all this. So, he's very quiet spoken. He's like, wait, move around with me a little bit. I'm like, yeah, okay, no problem. So he just touched me everywhere. He didn't hit me as hard as I was hitting a student, but he just touched me everywhere. And I understand as a fighter, it's a lot harder to touch somebody than it is to blast through them because you have to have a lot of control. You got to get there with so much speed and then pull back at the last second. And I was so humiliated, I ran out of school. And, we became great friends. He's a tremendous mentor to me. And he trained me, and he said, I want to train you. And he goes, in a year time, I'll have you the best fighter in California. And within 1 month, I was the best fighter in California. And then I got ranked in the world. And he's been a great mentor to me. So I've had these great giants throughout my entire career that's been able to help me. I don't think any of us can get through anything. That's why I come up with these cliches like Team Flex Wheeler. When I say that, that's honoring everybody who helped me get there. I didn't do anything on myself. So I've had tremendous mentors and people. And I even look up to you as a businessman. As I talked to you before, you've been so successful. I want to learn from you. And I'm trying to take from other people I've taken from me. And a lot of times they say, well, you're better at it. Another mentor is Stan Efferty, who I love to introduce you to. Tremendous businessman here and everything. And, he wanted me to train him. Now, he went to school for all that, kinesiology, just that and other, blah, blah, blah. And successful businessman. And I gave my price. And at the time, my price was outrageous. And he didn't blink. He said, okay. He goes, I want to train with you for 4 months. And I'm like, you know how much that's going to cost? He goes, yeah, here's the money. And I looked at him, I said, wow. And then when I understood how educated he was and successful, I was intimidated because his philosophy and training was completely different than mine. And I was like, I needed money at the time. I'm like, man, I don't want to mess up my money here, and blow him out of the water, what I think. And I told him, he goes, you're the expert, I'm not. So I'm just going to follow your rules. He goes, forget about what I learned in school. I'm here to learn from the best. So I want to learn from the best. Yeah. So I'm taking that from other people. But again, him just helping me business-wise, being successful. It was his reason why I moved here. We became a business partner and good friends, and he moved here from Seattle, Washington, like almost 10 years ago. He's like, Flex, what do you think about moving down here? I'm like, no way. I'm not moving to Vegas. Are you kidding? We go there to slaughter things, And he said, "Lyle, it's a lot different than that." And I came down here and visited him a couple of times. Like, oh my God, it's beautiful down here. People are great, you know. So he's another one of my mentors. So yeah, you can't get anywhere in life of great accomplishment without having great people who accomplish those things before you, you know. And I'm aware of that. So I don't mind being that guy to help other people. And now I'm trying to be the person who's not embarrassed to ask, hey, could you help me out? Or maybe, you know, could you sit with me and discuss these things? Because maybe I might run into somebody like me who don't mind being giving, like Derek, who don't mind in being giving. So now I'm very honored to have had such incredible mentors throughout my entire life, or I would not be here. I'd be in jail, or I'd be in prison or dead. And one of the greatest mentors was my grandmother. She raised me. She was born in 1909. So 1909, you have to understand historically, what did she see? Yeah. Right? 1909. So if you guys don't understand, look up tar and feathering. You know, look up people being hung with their privates put in their mouth. So she's seen all that growing up, and she taught me that there's no color. She goes, it's just good, and it just got black people. There's no black and white. So for her to grow up and go through all that and train me to understand there's just good and bad was beautiful. So she was my greatest mentor at the beginning, because our home environment helps secure who we are in our thinking. If we're raised in a racial environment, you know, we're going to grow up like that. So she set the building blocks for everybody else to come along and add to that, because she set a great foundation for me.
What was her name?
Ethel Wheeler. Ethel Pearl Wheeler, which is my daughter's middle name, because it was just my way of creating, you know, keeping my grandmother alive by giving my daughter her middle name. So, yeah.
I named my son after my great-grandfather. You know, grew up in New Orleans, man, and a very similar message. I was blessed to have, you know, been born and raised in my early age in New Orleans. It taught me so much about appreciation of culture and really living with others. And it's been the foundation of my day to day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think so. For us, you know, like, again, the product line that you with the nutrition line and all the other stuff that you've been doing, you know, we're very excited to see it come out. You know, I think if anything, you know, how we can help you the best is just some of the errors that we've made in business. But it's funny you say what you said about mentors, like people coming for, like, I believe in someone always can do something a little better. We can have a big vision, but there's people that can help, you know, instill the vision. Like we started, you know, all of this was a vision to have the podcast, the magazine. Right. Now we have Flex and, you know, Flex Real in here. We've had other, you know, great guests from, you know, executives to, you know,
I've seen some of them. Yeah, I've been watching.
We've had some interesting people, and it's always about this town, the city, and this what you're doing, Flex, is giving back to the people. You know, I met you through Kenny. He introduced us, and I know that you're his posing coach, you know, but so many people are blessed by you. And I was blessed that day when you walked in and we got a chance to get to know one another, because I didn't tell you, actually invited me to work out with him.
Awesome.
But I've been doing so much around the facility that I even haven't had time to lift up a weight besides moving them. Right. But just to have you, you know,
and that's what I know. I mean, I see you running around, you're trying to get things, you know, the right way, and you're doing things the right way. And it's tremendous what you've done to the gym so far. But being in similar positions, we always neglect ourselves. Yeah. And that's when I seen you running around like, you know what, next time you just throw your clothes in the car so we can get a workout the next time, because I'm pretty sure you're not probably sleeping the best that you could be. I'm pretty sure you're probably not eating the best that you probably should be, and even training like you were before. So that was just my way of saying, hey, you know, maybe I can take them out of that environment and help them get a good workout, you know, and then be more functional to go back in. So it's like you said, giving back, and you've given us a platform to have an amazing gym here, and just what you've done so far is just amazing. Sitting and watching your vision and everything, what you want to do at the gym, it just, you know, it kind of reminds me of the Mecca, you know, Goes Gym Venice. You just want to walk into the place. You just want to get busy and make things happen. You want that atmosphere. Well,
that's what I want to do, especially for the athletes. You know, we're creating a whole room where they can go in and pose in private, you know. So you have a studio pose room, and we're going to get together with some, you know, once the mirrors are up, we're going to do some more mirroring for the athletes can see different positions. So Flex is going to help me with that. So it's a partnership. You know, he's a great friend, but the partnership is there, right? Because we want to cater to everyone. See, a health club to me, right, is about exactly that. It's a health club. It's not just a one size fits all. You have to have many different things. That's why we went to 80 yards of turf. That's why we went to functional training, right? I mean, just, I know you had a problem with your C4, C5, and we're talking about squat. I'm like, Flex, well, how do you squat? Well, you had neck problems, right? You had 4 and 5 and still push through them. And then I look at a lot of your accomplishments is something that 95% of people, maybe 98% of people will never achieve, right? Never get there. You got there. And it's such an honor to have you here. But it's even more of an honor for me to have a friend sitting in here to share their story vulnerably, on a podcast, going, eventually it goes live, but just to know your journey, because you're not defined. I mean, when I knew that happened in November, I'm like, holy shit, like December, Christmas, New Year's, February, March came COVID. Like, how did you overcome this mindset so quickly? And I can guarantee it's not overcame yet.
Right.
But just to see you, when I saw you on that leg press, when I see what you're doing, like the way you do it, the way you care for people, the way I see you in the gym, it's unbelievable. It's one of the most inspiring things that I've seen in a long time. I think God meant for me to buy this facility to meet people.
I think everything happens for a reason. When I was competing, one of my closest friends, and he is my training partner, was Rico McClinton and Chris Cormier. Me and Rico, we bonded. We competed together. We became great friends, inseparable, and we traveled the world together. He worked at the famous Roxbury in Los Angeles, which is legendary for all the actors. And I started working there, and we did our things on the street, and training and all that stuff. But which is interesting what you said. Like I said, I think the book is written, and we have to play our roles. We have to do the right things, but it's written for opportunities to happen. And the amazing thing about meeting Rico, and I first met him when we were 18. We did a Teenage Black America together, and I ended up beating him. And little did I know, but he wanted to beat me up on stage right there because he was so pissed off, right? And I didn't see him again until I won the California championship, and I was like 5 years later. And he lived in LA. But long story short, I came to Gold's Gym Venice. We hadn't seen each other forever, right? There's no media back then, right? And we look at each other, and we immediately recognize. He goes, and I'm pointing, and he goes, Flax, and I go, Rico. And from there, like you said, friendship just happened. Yeah. So we ran the streets, traveled the world, everything like that. But here's the crazy part. So I was raised in church. I knew better, right? I was just a heathen, ran away from it, this, that, and other, like most people, just ran away from it. Rico never had. Never knew anything about church. And he started going to church, and he started changing right in front of my eyes. Didn't want to go out, didn't want to be mischief, stopped cussing, So it got to the point where it made me uncomfortable. I'm like, Rick, what's going on with you, dog? Where you at? He goes, oh, man, I just don't want to be a part of that no more. I was like, okay. So I questioned him. So him knowing how vile I was, he's probably thinking it's no helping Flex, dude. Trust me, dude is gone. It ain't, Jesus can't even come down and help this dude. He's like gone, right? So he didn't even want to say nothing. So I kept pressing. I'm like, why are you changing? What's wrong? Is there a problem? He goes, no, Flex, I just, found this church, and, I've been going there, and, and he wouldn't even discuss it with me. I had to pry it out of him. Finally, it's like, man, after months, tell me about this church. I mean, because I'm intrigued that, he just latched on to, and I know that I should have been leading him. So he told me about the church, and, he invites me, and I go there. Long story short, anyway. So going to Bible study and everything, and I get sick. They found out that I have FSGS. And, because everybody knew me in the church from being an athlete and everything, I started going back to church, and I had all these tubes sticking out of my neck because they were dialysizing me. And obviously they wanted to know what was going on. So I stood up in a congregation. I said, I told them about my disease. And, they told me back in 99, and they said, that I was suffering from kidney failure, and my creatinine was at like a 11.6, which is deadly. I mean, I was just a walking dead, and that I wouldn't make it out of my 30s without having kidney failure, and I wouldn't survive my 40s without having a kidney transplant, or I was going to die. So I just got up in church, and I just said, this is what's going on, and 7 people stood up immediately. They didn't even know me. They stood up and put their hand up and said, we'll go get tested, try to be a donor for you. So, like I said, things happen for a reason. Rico was put in my life because God already knew the whole book. So he put, Rico in my life to be able to go to this church. to be able to get this kidney transplant to be here. And I just want to say, you know, Risa, who gave me her kidney after she got out of hospital, I had a lot of complications. I was in the hospital for a year. I had 9 surgeries in 11 weeks that I almost died from. And the week she got out of hospital, she found out she had cancer. And here she is about to battle cancer, just gave me her kidney. And her first thought was to call me while I was in the hospital. Flex, hey, I just want to let you know, they found out I have cancer, but I want to let you know you're okay. The kidney's okay. You're going to be okay. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're about to battle. So she fought cancer for 16 years, and she just lost her battle a little over a week ago.
Well, she's still here with you.
Yeah, and that's a great thing. Me and her husband talk, and he goes, I feel even a greater connection. And I remember when I met her mother. She's Filipino, and when I met her mother before we went in for surgery, her mother gave me a big hug, and she's like, "You're my son now. You're part Filipino." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I am." But because of her, she was able to give me life. And I remember asking her, "Why, Risa? Why would you risk yourself?" She goes, "I lost my dad when I was young, and I used to babysit your kids in Bible study. And I'll look at your kids, Darius and Nia, and I'm like, wow, if I could just give him a few more years to be with his kids." Here I am 16 years later. I'm still here because of her. So when you're talking about mentor and helping people, how could I not give back? How could I not lay down whatever I have to help other people when I've had such tremendous people help me to the point of even helping me be alive? So, that's where my strength comes from. I got to honor her. I got to honor everybody else. And Neil, another tremendous person in my life is Neil Spruce. If you heard of Apex Fitness before, or the Body Bug, I think Apex Fitness bought 24 Hours bought enough. So that's Neil Spruce. He invented all that. Back in the days when Gold's Gym had their nutrition company, he ran all that. So he's been another incredible person in my life. I mean, I couldn't even afford to compete, and he would pay for me to go and compete all over the world and stuff like that. And now he's like a father figure to me. And when I broke my neck in '94, I was in a car accident, and I broke C5 and C6. And, sad story, but unfortunately, I was dropped immediately by Joe Weider. I was still in the hospital when it was a facsimile in my phone that I was released my contract. And so I had an incredible 7-story house and, right there in Venice. And, I lost everything. And Neil said, "You stay at my place." And I go, "Neil, Dad, how could I ever repay you?" He goes, "You're going to repay me by changing people's lives through health and fitness for the rest of your life. That's how you pay me back." And that's how I'm paying it forward. So I have these things that I have to do to honor everybody else who I've been allowed to stand on their shoulders. So that's where my strength comes from.
Your friend with church, he, what spoken to me is he didn't tell you to go to church. Mm-hmm. It was his way of being.
It's the way he walked.
He walked it, right? Because I think at that time, Flex, if he would have told you go to church, you wouldn't have gone to church.
Yeah.
I think you had to see the transformation that he made in himself
100%.
That got you to where you are.
100%.
I mean, we're grateful to have you here, and kidney and everything that you that's been given to you, mm-hmm. and now it's you giving back, and this community is. This community is going to be taken over by storm by Flex Village.
Just got a little bit better
because you got a lot to give. You got a lot to give. You got a lot of life in you, man. Yeah. You got a lot of life in you.
I can't wait to help connect you to those that are in need of it, man. Your inspiration is going to help so many folks.
And I've just been helped. It's one who's been greatly helped and forgiven. You need to be greatly forgivable and help other people. And I'm just excited to do whatever I can in many different facets of ways of being able to help. Like you said, my nutrition company, which I'm going to releasing, the backwater when we get back in stock, I want to try to get it into the gym. And this nice suit that I have, actually, this is one of my line. I just signed an agreement that I have my own lines of men's formal wear for men and women. So I'm actually wearing one of my own suits. So I'm just, I'm trying to be a jack of trade. What is it? A master? What is it?
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades and a master of many. So I'm just trying to have a number of different avenues where I can just help people in various different ways. Yeah. Man. Like I said, I I don't really care about money anymore. You know, before it was like, you know, money, cars, you know, what I can buy, you know, how fancy my car can be. But I've had all that, and I still was freaking trying to kill myself, you know. So now, you know, just happiness is my desire, and I get that mostly from giving back to people.
There's no happiness in buying things. I'll tell you that. So the health club, just so fast, you know, the health club for me was all about the community. It wasn't about how much money I can make in a health club, because, you know, it's very, that size of a facility is very difficult. But I figured, how many people can we impact? How many kids? How many training camps? How many underprivileged, you know, youth, you know, camps can come in here, utilize the facility? Yeah. So if I broke the facility down in quadrants, right, how many people that we can help? Like, you know, for instance, like there's Living Grace out there, helps battered women. So I gave Living Grace like a membership for their women can come in and work on their self-esteem, right? So there's lots of give backs that I can do with the facility, right? I can have a personal trainer work with a couple of the girls, right? So there's going to be a lot of different people coming through that facility, not because it pays money, but because it's the right thing to do for the community. Right. And, you know, and partner up with you with the nutrition line. Flex, I would rather partner up with you than most people, because you're the real deal. You know about the nutrition. Listen, to get to where you got to, you had to eat right. You had to know the supplements you were taking. You had to know on how to do this stuff, how to know how to train. So if we have top athletes, or we have top bodybuilders coming through there, I would want them to go through you. It's a representation.
Right. And I remember when we first met, you know, and I sit down and I looked at you and I was like, okay, so I've done my little research. You know, I know you're very successful in a number of different genres. I'm like, but this bodybuilding world, this gym world, it's a loss. You know, it's hard to make money. So I remember asking you, what's your end to this? Because it can't be that you're going to capitalize and make a lot of money, because I know you're smarter than that. You know, and when you told me about your history of working out and boxing, and I'm like, okay, there's a connection. Because normally in this world, the fitness world, it has to be about something bigger than money. Because if you get into this about money, you're not going to make it.
No,
you're not going to make it. And to see that you're passionate about it, now I understand why you've already invested so much money in a gym before you ever even open the doors. And I can see your bigger vision, because it's not personal. I mean, it's not business, it's personal. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with coming out with a great ability to be able to help people. And if somehow you can make money on it, it's nothing wrong with that. Because we know there's a billion people out there doing horrible things and are making a dang crap of money, you know. So
I'll tell you, the money feels much better when you're doing it the right way, man.
You know, it's you know, for me, you know, I grew up poor. Like my mother would probably be on the, so tell you, we grew up, you know, father wasn't around, mother had 3 jobs, you know, very young age. I had a lot of stuff going on. So, you know, then I made a lot of money, right? And then I lost everything, right? But so money is never, you know, it's always been, money is kind of like, it's like the trophy behind you. That's a fancy football trophy. Money is a trophy. Yeah. Right? And the number that goes up is the bigger the trophy. But my whole goal in life isn't to see how much money that I can stack up, and it's to see how many lives I can help. It's all about the help. It's all about the reach. This community is something else. This community have supported me through, I've been here 20 years. Yeah, I've never had any incidents, right? But this community has supported the vision of helping others for many of years. And I've had the honor, like Henderson leadership. I'm a part of class of 2020. We just did a cool thing for eye care for kids. Donated, we raised a lot of money, gave a lot of money back, and you know, and what's with like the police captain, Eric Buck from Henderson, his wife, and, you know, Kathleen Miller. There's all these, you know, Pinecrest, you know, there's all these amazing people that are on this journey with us. That's all supported everything. But like Metro, to get a part of like Metro Chamber, they're just a great group of people, and we get to have come in here and interview. Plus, I'm honored to have you as a friend.
It's honored. It's like I said before. It's very rare to meet great people, right? Especially people who are great, who have a great mentality. You know that better than anybody. So when you meet someone, you know, who's like that, and then, you know, they show the humanality of themselves, it's even better. So the feeling is mutual. And as you said, you work with the police force. I went to academy, post academy back in '86. I graduated, worked for the sheriff department in Fresno. So I met a few of the guys here from Metro, and they've always asked me, you know, Flex, hey, could you come down to speak? I'm like, yeah. So definitely. You know, I want to do that also in any way to help, because it is a very trying time for our officers right now. And, you know, like I said, I want to be one. I was a one for a while. And it's very trying times for officers right now, you know, but I do feel that to be an officer, a peace officer, to put yourself in harm's way, it's a career. It's not a job.
Every event that I have a ticket to, you're going to be my +1 to. So we're gonna be going to a lot of events together. When they start them up again, you and I are going to be doing a lot of stuff together.
That'd be great.
I want to introduce you to a lot of influencers in this town. And Flex, a lot of people, you know, I mean, business people. Listen, we get stuck on little tiny things, right? But to overcome things, it takes the mindset. You have a great mindset, right? And your vulnerability is truly what your power is, right? And I would say, you know, like when we die, we're all gonna go and sick. We're all gonna get buried in the same 6 foot. You know, you can't take nothing with you.
No,
right?
And what you're saying, I agree. I remember it was the time I was walking through the airport, and you know, at the time I was probably like 290 pounds, and I think I had on tights, which is a freak of nature because my legs were like 32 inches and my waist was 27. So I got on tights and a tank top, and you know, I'm just full of myself. And I remember this little kid walked up to me and like, "Oh my God, are you rich?" And even in my ignorance, I remember looking at him. I'm like, "I have more money than some and less than others." And he kind of walked away disenchanted because that's not what he wanted to hear. But it really hit me. No matter where you are, it's always going to be somebody who has more. Always going to be somebody who has less. What should center you to make you think that I'm not all that great, because there's somebody who can come and stand next to me that'll make you feel like crap. Right. And then there's somebody else who can stand on your other side like, wow, I have so much. So that's the beautiful thing of what you're saying. And we can't take any of that back. You know, all the things that we can possibly do, I found no happiness in it. I would still come home and try to take my life. So now just giving back and helping people, you know, who deal with being suicidal, it helps me because I hear myself talking. Yeah. So it helps me. So again, you know, in any way that I can help you and empower you in what you're doing, whether it's going to high schools and sitting and sharing my story, whether it's going and sitting to peace officers and sharing my story or helping them, or just talking or helping them get in shape, whatever I can lend my name or my hand to, consider it done already. That's what brings me true happiness. And for me, the type of person who I am, if I don't do things like that, I'll go back into the old character of me, which is very destructive.
I think the greatest gift we have to let kids know today that your past does not define your future. If you dropped out of school, if you made a bad mistake, if you went to jail, if you did drugs, right, you can get cleaned up, right, and you can be a productive member of the community. You just need to make a decision, and you need to stick with it. It's going to be hard. Yeah, life is very hard in a lot of different ways. Life is hard. Yeah. Walking the journey, we can talk about it, right, but walking through life, it's not. Sometimes it's not that easy. You got too many. You know, so there's a lot of bad stuff going on. Sure. Right now, it's easy to want to get involved in it because just want to get out of the house and want to be involved. The discipline comes from realizing the right and wrong. Right. And Flex, you know, with this community, and we're going to do some of that speaking because I believe there's a lot of kids that are growing up. They're growing up the wrong way. Right. And and for me, it's the most important gift that I can tell anyone is you're not defined by your future.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I've been through all those things, and you know, when you have low self-esteem, you just don't think you can be. I remember, you know, back when I was really young, you just dream about what you can be, and I think kids don't even have a dream. They don't even dream anymore. And as a teenager, my dream was, you know, I don't want to get robbed or raped today, you know, or beat up or shot, and that's a horrible dream to have. And you know, a book that I released a long time ago was called Dare to Dream. And that was the whole thing, because sometimes you just got to dare to dream. Yeah. Because only then can you plant those seeds. But our kids, they're the future of the world. So if we don't reach back down and help them, they'll be adults when we're old and fart and it can't do anything for ourselves, and they'll be ruling the world. So if we don't help them get through this, they won't help us get through our next phase in life. So I don't really get it, why people don't think that way, why they think if, you know, they're so far you know, rich or whatever, that it can't reach out and touch them. It might not be able to touch them at their house, but it might touch their nephew or their niece or something else. So why not just try to help everybody? And I agree completely with what you're saying. You know, it doesn't define you, what you do and the decisions you made. And to capitalize on a point you said, it's going, you know, life is hard. Listen, if you're a drug dealer or you know, or gang member, life is going to be hard for you. People out there trying to kill you and take what you got. well, trying to do it good, it's going to be hard for you also.
Yeah.
But the good thing about it is you're doing a good and honorable thing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that it's going to be no harder. But at least you can feel good about yourself, of what you're doing. You can look in the mirror and say, I'm still a man. I'm still doing good things, and I'm still trying. So it's going to be hard, but there is nothing in life that isn't not going to be hard. A guy on the street who's homeless, life is hard for him.
Yeah.
You know, in your position right now, life is hard for you because you have so many decisions to make. You have people who are dependent on you job-wise. And the truth is, you know, there's a lot of vices that come at you when you're at that position that want to kind of take you off the railroad track. So you're right. You have to be disciplined and focused about your game, because it doesn't matter where you are on a sliding rule. Life is going to be hard. It's all about decisions, being focused, making decisions, and being disciplined. You know,
I love it. You know, I love the everyday waking up. You know, you said so earlier, but I sleep pretty good, man. But I wake up early and I go to bed late, and I love every minute of it. You know, I have a lot thrown at us, man, a lot, and I enjoy it. You know, like what else can I take on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
A personality peoples, yeah, we just never happy. We're always driven, trying to do more.
And let me tell you, waking up to that 5 a.m. call from this guy, he wakes up early.
I call
hey,
people,
Kobe, what you doing? It's 5 a.m. I guess I'm up and ready to go today.
You know, Magic. I think that's Magic. You just said something. Magic Johnson says that. He goes, "I'm never satisfied.
No,
never satisfied."
There's nothing wrong with that. It's a double-edged sword, right? It cuts both ways. Met Magic many a times. Used to train in the gym. His trainer, my trainer, was his trainer for a while, and Magic is just, you know, it's magic to be around, just a businessman. And for somebody of his stature to recognize a little bitty me, and, you know, we've seen each other in different parts of the world, in different states, and I mean, he will break stride and walk over and, Flex, how you doing? I mean, and it's like, it just makes me feel honored. I was checking into a hotel in New York one time, and he was about to get in his limo, and he jumped out of his limo, ran up to me and gave me a hug. Hey, what are you doing here? Blah, blah, blah. But you're never happy because you're driven. And it's a great thing because you're motivated to do more. Kind of the bad thing is you're not happy because when you achieve something, that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Who cares about that? That was
the
yesterday.
next thing.
What I got to do now. So it's a double-edged sword, but, you know, you got to take, you know, on your shoulders that when you're trying to do great things, it's challenging. And, you know, I think a certain type of people out there who are just really driven like that, and they just wake up and you know, if you're saying like anything like me, when you achieve one thing, my mind is, okay, what's next?
What's next?
You know, what's next? So, and that's the way I was as a competitor. I would win a show. I would tell myself, you got tonight to have fun. So I, you know, have a little party in my room. You know, everybody come over. I'd order pizza, and I would tell myself, when the last piece of pizza's gone, who gives a damn about what you did tonight? You'll get your ASS handled to you next week. Worried about, you know, I won the show last week. Nobody's going to be afraid of you. They want to come and put you in the dirt because you won, because then they can say, yeah, I beat you and I beat the guy who won last week. So nobody gives a damn. So you have to shrug that off and continue going on.
Always bigger and better. So we got to ask you a couple of questions.
Yep.
Oakland guy, right?
Yeah.
Raider fan?
Live or die.
Raider fan?
I mean, my dad took me to a Raider game, the first game I ever been to, and I was so young. I couldn't have been no more than 7. And it was obviously in Raider Stadium in Oakland, and it was great. I mean, funny part is it was a huge brawl down in the football field. I was like, yeah, you know. But I've been a diehard Raider fan. I don't care. I'm not one of those people who live vicariously through their team.
Yeah, you're not gonna have the shoulder pads with spikes.
No, well, you know what? I'm me. I you know. So my point is, I'm not going to shoot my dog if they lose a game, you know, because we both know. I mean, you know, I lived in the Bay Area for a long time, so either a Raider or a San Francisco fan.
There's some passionate fans in that
and
area.
My buddies are passionate San Francisco. They wouldn't even talk to me during a game. So my point is, I don't live vicariously through my team, but I love my team. So I love them. I don't care if they win. Great, I love you. I don't care if you lose. I still love you the same. I'm not going to throw my trophy away. I mean, I'm not going to throw my jersey away. So now I just love them, man. I love them. So. Yeah, I'm a Raider fan. I'm a Laker fan because of Kobe. Me and Kobe were, you know, decent friends and everything like that. So, you know, Lakers and Raiders, no matter what, they can't do no wrong. And now that they're here, oh, my God.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, they followed you. So, you know, Mr. California, you know, you got to give you that name. Favorite food?
Pizza.
Damn, me too.
Really?
Me too.
Pizza, yeah, pizza.
Me too. If I can go, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Favorite vacation?
Honestly, because I've traveled the world so extensively for decades, I don't really have a vacation spot because I've always been there for work. And to be honest, I don't think I've taken a vacation in 30 years because I've traveled to places where people would go. So kind of I jokingly say my vacation is at home, not being bothered. But it's not true because I'm always bothered at home. So, you know, me and my wife are trying to think of somewhere nice to go to really do a real vacation where you turn your phone off. You know, I don't even know if that's going to be possible. Is it possible?
Yeah, man, go to the Philippines.
Yeah, I was
been
in
there before. So yeah, I've been there before. Yeah, it's beautiful.
I think, you know, well, you know, I've had a couple of, like, most like relaxing places to go is just the beach. You know, I had a great time. You know, what's your favorite sport?
Martial arts.
Martial arts.
Yeah.
You showed me a video of him kicking some butt.
Yeah, I love it. It's just
fast.
It's
fast
nothing better. My right leg, which unfortunately was my leg I lost, my right leg and my right hand was just, I mean,
vicious.
But, you know, everybody's a black belt, right? Everybody's great. You know, John Wayne was a black belt. Elvis was a black belt. You know what I mean?
I want a black belt.
What's his, the great actor with Bruce Lee? I can't think of his name, but everybody's a black belt. So when I had my kidney transplant, I wanted to, you know, I couldn't compete anymore. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go into acting, you know, because I consider myself a good martial artist. In a way to springboard my career, I was like, okay, I need to go and fight and prove to everybody that I'm an accomplished fighter. So, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger allowed me to do this demo fight at the Honor Classic where I fought, you know, a world champion. And I was going to allow that to say, okay, now you guys see that I'm a recognized, you know, martial artist. So to get them to film and everything. But it's just everybody's a bad ASS, especially here, you know. But I love competition sports. I love fighting. You know, for me to get hit, you know, it's just like I can imagine it's probably the same thing as somebody taking cocaine or heroin, because I just get a high. It's like, man, beautiful. Let's move around, and that's what we say in fighting. Let's move around. You know, it's like a way of saying, you know, let's fight with respect and love. Let's just move around a little bit. So it's nothing that I enjoy more than fighting, which, you know, I can't do anymore, but the spirit is still there and everything. But it's just it's beautiful.
You'll see Flex on a cod in a couple of years, right after.
I'm going to try. Trust him. I'm going to work his right leg to get it as strong as possible to see what I can do. But I just, you know, as you were saying before, you know, my mentality, I don't know. It's no quit. You know, it's just, I don't know where it comes from. I don't know where the drive comes from other than a man upstairs. But
your soul, baby.
I don't see it that way that you see it. You know, when like when you say the leg press, and even the video of me using elliptical in your gym went viral and everything, and people were giving me comments like, wow, I'm glad I don't see it that way, because I probably then see the struggle of it. You know, for me, it's like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
But climb back on a horse and try to do it. So I remember I was training with Stan's wife, and we were in a gym, and it was when I was trying to get ready to come back and compete in Olympia out of retirement. You know, I have back problems, certain things I can't do. And she just looked at me, she's like, how do you do that? And I'm like, what? She goes, you're in there just training as hard as I am, as if nothing's never happened to you. And I'm like, but I don't see it that way, and I'm glad I don't, because I would probably be defeated mentally by just the veracity of having to take on something like that. So probably just the same way you do in visiting business, like you probably do things like, how come I can't? Why not? If somebody else did, why can't I? And I think that's a mentality you got to have to be able to achieve, you know, greater than normal things.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why, you know, I never talk bad about people. You know, just because, you know, like they care haters. I don't care about haters. Like,
they're your biggest fans.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah,
they're
I'm gonna keep doing me. I'm gonna rise up.
You got to get more haters, right? That's what you want.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the comedian. What's the
Cat Williams did a good one on haters before.
Yep. And I'm trying to think of the other. He had a sitcom for a long time. Gosh, I can't think of it. But he's a great comedian. And he was doing a storyline like, you know, he goes, I love my haters. They're your biggest fans, man. They know everything you do. You know, they watch everything. They're truly your biggest fans. And listen to them, because whether they hate you or not, they'll point out things that might be a weakness that you can amp up on.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a different way. So now I don't have to go and worry about shooting my fans in the face. I can just look at them as, you know, my fans instead of like, you know, a little spoiler.
The anger that comes from.
Hey, all publicity is good publicity, right? It doesn't matter if someone's saying something about you, you know, it's better have them not saying anything.
Yeah.
So let them.
Yeah.
It's
Then
like
they said, when they stop talking about you, that's when you should be worried. Yeah. So you're right.
But Flex, you're on that you're on another trajectory in life, and I can only imagine what's next. It's an honor having you in the studio.
Thank you.
And anytime that you want to come in or pop in, but we're gonna be friends for a long time,
Yes,
and we're
sir.
gonna do a lot of great things together.
I'm looking forward to it.
Man, if anyone wanted to get in touch with you, get a hold of you, I know you have the product line, your video team.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone wanted to get in touch with you.
Right now, they can reach me through my Instagram, which is official Flex Wheeler. My email, I'm old school, so I'm at Yahoo Flex Wheeler, kenflexwheeler@yahoo.com. I'm just now setting up my websites. The reason why I won't say the name of my business is because I'm trying to trademark them before I go out there and say anything. And I don't want to say the potential websites that I bought already because I don't want somebody going out and kicking my butt on that. So I'll try to get all the other information to you that we can link up. We'll stay in contact. But, as of right now, either just through email or through my Instagram. Yeah.
And I'll ask Flex, for everybody listening in, for those that are going to hear this incredible story about you and hopefully are empowered to partner up and really get this movement going for you in this community, what would you leave them with?
You know what? I think Derek summed it up the best. It just truly doesn't matter what you've been through. It's not where you're from, it's where you're at. It's not where you started. Like I said, I started from welfare, homeless, beaten, sexually abused, suicide. But, fortunately, I didn't define myself of what I did. It's what I'm trying to do. I didn't define myself as the person I was. It's the person I wanted to be. And, if I can give any advice to anyone, the journey isn't done until, the fat lady sings. Yeah. Until then, you got a time to be able to change and affect other people's lives. I remember, when this happened to me, I said, it's like I said before, it's bringing me so much calmness, so much joy and happiness that I'd rather live, 5 more minutes, the person I am now than I lived the last 54 years of the person I was before. So you still have a chance of changing. It just takes discipline and just the will to want. And, just don't get caught up because we all do it. We all beat ourselves up. We know, everyone in this room know all the ugly things they ever done. And we'll sit there and we'll we're the best opponent to get whooped by. We'll sit there and we'll whoop up on each other. On ourselves. Just shut that down and just believe that you can do better. And just listen to stories of other people. Every great overnight success was 5 to 10 years in the making. Yeah. It's that saying, the iceberg, you only see the tip, but you have no grit. So to sum it up, people see the beauty of what I've done. They see all the grit and, the glamour and the glory, but they're not aware of any of the grit and the glory that I had to go through in getting there. My grit and glory is just as bad as yours. It's probably not better. So if I could try to strive to become better, then why not you? You just got to sit there and say, why not me? And just believe in yourself and dare to dream.
Dare to dream.
I love it, man. And listeners, this is a special treat. I hope you take this message and run with it. I'll tell you, Flex Wheeler, thanks so much, man. This was incredible. Listeners, tune in, connect, come see us. We'll be at Movement Fitness. But more importantly, reach out and do some good for some people. Support your neighbor, love each other. Let's keep pushing on.
Support the movement.
That's it.
Support the movement.